How's it going? Today I'll be doing a review of The Island of Doctor Moreau by H.G. Wells. So The Island of Doctor Moreau is a book that was published by H.G. Wells in the late 1800s. 1896, if I'm remembering correctly. Do not quote me on that, but in that area, if it's not that date. And it is the story of Prendick, who kind of tells you a story in the first person as if he was writing you a letter or telling you a story directly about his shipwrecking and being taken in by Montgomery, who is Dr. Moreau's assistant. So Montgomery finds him shipwrecked and takes him onto his ship, and then takes him to Dr. Moreau's island in the Pacific, where he kind of takes him in, and they take care of him and heal his wounds. And on this island, Prendick discovers that Dr. Moreau has been vivisecting animals. At first it's interesting because there's a moral dilemma thing going on. I'll get into that later. But Dr. Moreau is vivisecting animals, and that's what Montgomery was doing. He was bringing a jaguar to the island because Dr. Moreau was going to experiment on it. And what he does is turn animals into humans. And that's his shtick, right? He turns animals into humans. He doesn't experiment on humans. He's not a bad guy. He turns animals into humans. He's like a propel science into the future kind of good guy type of situation. I think I gave this book 6, maybe 7 out of 10. I thought the story was very interesting. I did get bored towards the middle a little bit. I had a tough time reading it. I even almost put it down. The storyline was interesting. What really made it tough for me is the voice, the narrator's voice, because like I said, he's talking to you in the first person. He's telling you his story very much as though he was talking to you actually, or writing you a letter. Which, I don't know, the voice felt like it wasn't my style at times. Pair that with the fact that I had previously, maybe two or three books before that, read The Invisible Man, which I think the narrative style is a little bit different. It's also someone telling you their story in the first person, for part of the story anyway, but the pace is very different, so it didn't read the same. In The Island of Dr. Moreau, it felt very slow, especially when I'm mixing up the names, when Prendick is discovering the island, and when Moreau is explaining to Prendick what he does, why it's not wrong, etc. I did think this book was an interesting commentary on the boundaries of science and how far, how much experimenting can you do before it's considered no longer ethical. It was interesting to get a commentary also on how when you're part animal, part human, you are more or less like a full human. And it also tapped in a little bit to how Prendick became more animalistic as he gets rescued at the end, spoiler, but he ends up being on the, he doesn't get rescued, he runs away from the island and then gets rescued from his raft. But he does end up spending a whole year on the island, and in doing so, he becomes a little bit feral, such with things like he loses his speech, and his way of thinking isn't quite the same. But it's like H.G. Wells really blurs the lines a lot in this book, which he does very well across the board in all of his literature, so leave it to him to do that. I hesitate. So this, I don't know, this is definitely a sci-fi. Is it sci-fi though? Because I think vivisecting on animals and humans, I think, was probably done in the past. Somewhere in the dark history of science, I'm sure it was done, right? So is this really science fiction? I don't know. That's the thing. Was it science fiction in the 1890s or late 1800s? Maybe this is historical fiction. I think this may be historical fiction. Obviously it's historical fiction. Thanks a lot, Celeste. But is it sci-fi or like a... No, it's not steampunk. Let me know your thoughts down below. Is this sci-fi? Is this sci-fi? Let me know, because I'm a little on the edge on this one. This book also has a few movie adaptations. The three main ones are, the first one was in the 30s, 32, and then there was one in the 70s, and then one in the 90s. Personally, I only saw the one in the 90s, or I think it was 96, if I'm not mistaken. With the one with Marlon Brando. I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I do still want to wait to see the other two ones to compare. Obviously I liked it because there's green on the cover of the movie. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Unfortunately, I did see the movie before I read the book. I didn't know at the time I was going to read the book. Anyway, let me know if you've seen the movies below, and let me know what you think. Is it a sci-fi or not? Like the video if you did, subscribe. See you guys next time. Bye.